As Asian countries are developing rapidly, they are facing many threats. However, they also have many opportunities. By pursuing a low-carbon green growth path now, they can help develop an inclusive, resilient, and prosperous Asia-Pacific region. The Low-Carbon Green Growth Roadmap, turning resource constraints and the climate crisis into economic growth opportunities.
Rapid economic growth of Asia Pacific was driven by cheap labor and resources. But because of the resource constraint we are facing now, including the oil and many other essential metals and other resources, the prices are already skyrocketing.
The Asia-Pacific region is currently using 3 times the amount of resources as the rest of the world to create 1 unit of gross domestic product.
Current market prices do not entirely capture the social-ecological cost of production and consumption.
Asia-Pacific is not only facing resource constraint, but also facing another very serious challenge of climate change.
Over 200 million people in the Asia-Pacific region are affected by natural and climate-related disasters each year.
We have to shift very quickly towards a new growth pattern which is resource efficient.
By focusing on the quantity of GDP growth, we have entered a vicious cycle of exploiting our human and natural capital. This has worsened social exclusion, lowered productivity, and widened the income gap, while also increasing resource intensity, lowering efficiency, and causing environmental degradation. These conditions are undermining the region's economic vitality, which leads to lower economic resilience and higher economic vulnerability. These elements then cause further exploitation.
It is clear that Asia-Pacific cannot no longer continue the economic growth pattern which is resource intensive. ASCAP has recently produced a low-carbon green growth roadmap, which is a blueprint for the policymakers in the region.
This roadmap identifies 5 main tracks on which to drive the system change for low-carbon green growth. Track 1 focuses on improving the quality of growth and maximizing net growth. Track 2 focuses on changing the invisible structure of the economy by closing the gap between economic and ecological efficiencies. Track 3 focuses on changing the visible structure of the economy through planning and designing eco-efficient infrastructure. Track 4 focuses on turning green into a business opportunity, and Track 5 focuses on formulating and implementing low-carbon development strategies.
This roadmap has outlined a clear strategy of how to transform our economic system, because green growth is a matter of economic system change.
A shift towards quality of growth can be achieved by investing in human and natural capital. This can generate higher labor productivity through a more skilled labor force, greater social inclusion, and a more equitable income distribution, while at the same time increasing resource efficiency, lowering resource intensity, and improving ecological sustainability. These conditions reinforce the region's economic vitality and resilience while decreasing vulnerability. They can then combine to further enhance investment in human and natural capital.
We are proposing the idea of net growth.
If we take into account the cost of pollution, environmental degradation, and lost economic opportunities, the actual net growth will be much less than the calculated GDP.
For example, many countries in the region are losing up to 3% of their GDP simply from traffic congestion. But this is just one example of the hidden GDP loss. There are many other hidden GDP losses.
In addition to traffic congestion, other hidden costs such as air pollution, labor strikes, and water shortages are not accounted for with gross domestic product. Net growth takes these costs into consideration. By capturing and minimizing these hidden ecological and economic losses, we can help maximize net growth.
Many people are confusing whether quality of growth is similar with the quality of life. Quality of life is quite subjective, but quality of growth, we believe, can be calculated based on certain methodology. The basic concept of green growth is to generate double dividend.
This double dividend is possible through a set of green policies.
We have to shift tax base from income towards resource consumption.
This will generate more capital to invest in sustainable businesses, while also providing funds to alleviate our current environmental toll. This tax shift, together with a shift towards quality of growth, will generate a double dividend that can maximize net growth.
At the same time, invisible structures such as market price, lifestyle, technology, regulation, standard, among those many important factors of an invisible structure, the market price of energy, resource, and carbon is the most important factor affecting resource efficiency and our shift towards a green growth.
Reforming the price structure in a way to reflect the true cost of goods and services is an essential part of transforming the individual structure of the economy and pursuing low-carbon green growth.
We have to fundamentally transform visible as well as invisible structure of our economy. Visible structure means anything physical we can see, including the buildings and transport, energy, water, and urban design and planning.
Physical infrastructure can be locked in to the nature of their design. If these designs are based on the high carbon consumption and environmentally destructive in nature, this can take a significant toll on our environment as well as our societies.
So we have to reorient our infrastructure design based on eco-efficiency. Many policymakers in developing countries argue that poverty is more important priority for developing countries than greening economic growth. I'd like to emphasize that green growth is a strategy of sustaining economic growth necessary to reduce poverty. That's why ESCAP is working towards a global partnership where developed countries can support developing countries in engaging with greener technologies and providing funds for green growth projects. Green growth is not just a matter of money and technology. It is a matter of policy choice. What is more critical is a political will and commitment.
The Asia-Pacific region can lead the vision of an inclusive, resilient, and sustainable future, not just for those who live here, but for the whole world. The Low-Carbon Green Growth Roadmap, turning resource constraints and the climate crisis into economic growth opportunities.